for tuning into LCTV Channel 66. I am Gerri McCritty, and you are watching Shining a Light. Today, I am going to be shining a light on journeys of two wonderful African American ladies. I feel they have an incredible journey, and they wear many, many hats. So today I want to introduce you to, I'm going to start with you first, my good friend and sister.
Hey, my name is Dominique Denman, and I'm so happy to be here. Thanks so much for inviting us.
Thank you. And then next we have...
I'm Kellie Turner, and it is my pleasure to be here to have these conversations with you.
It's my pleasure having both of you here on my show today. So I want you to just share briefly a little bit of your background. We'll start with you, Dominique.
Okay, I am a native Houstonian,
All right.
and I moved to New York City in 2001. My background is music and choir and theater and ministry. I have done quite a bit in those arenas. Started out as a young girl, grew up in church, and was introduced to theater and was introduced to music. My aunt was the piano player in my youth choir. Wow. And she noticed that, she can kind of sing a little bit. Let me see what's going on. Yeah. And that began my journey with choir, youth choir, adult choir. I was one of the youngest to sing in the adult choir.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that was fun. And just kept it up my entire life, you know. Wow. Like I said, grew up in church. It was always singing in theatrical productions. My uncle had a theater workshop when I was a young kid. So every summer, that was our job, to go to work and put on a production. It was amazing. And so it actually stuck with me. And it ties over into the things that I do now. I am a pastor now. I am a education and outreach director for a church in the United Church of Christ.
All right.
And I actually planted a ministry when I got out of seminary. Ooh. So we are doing virtual services each week on Saturdays. And, that and theater, it's just been a continual cycle. I work with Erie Theater Company, which is a nonprofit theater company that we started many years ago. Our parent company is actually Denman Turner Entertainment Group, and we have been putting on theatrical productions, musical productions. You know, I've directed church choirs, I've directed theatrical shows, been a producer, and I've been working with Kellie since actually 2005.
Okay.
My career kind of started. I sang with the Houston Grand Opera Chorus. And I then started doing, I did a production of Ain't Misbehavin' at a dinner theater. And I have just been all over the place. I've traveled and sang in Europe and Asia and different parts of the world with a gospel group, 3 to be exact. And met Kellie along the way. And
here.
Here I am.
Do you have time to breathe and sleep?
Listen, I make time for that.
You have to.
I don't have an issue with getting rest.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that. You're a woman of many hats. And what about you, Kellie?
In one word, same. I guess that's not.
Wait, what's your background?
My background is similar.
Okay.
I grew up in the church, but I also grew up being at home watching a lot of old movies. I love old movies. I love westerns, and I have an affinity for the 40s.
Okay.
So I just grew up watching a lot of television, and so the love of movies, the love of making movies, the love of singing, of course, in church, and my path was a little different in that I had a gift of being able to play keys, or play organ actually. And so I was probably the youngest organist in my home church growing up. But between the church and I guess I would be considered, well, not I guess, I would be considered a latchkey kid, because growing up in a single family household, my mother had to work, and so I was home, and so the television was my company.
Did you grow up here in Lancaster?
No, I grew up in Dallas.
Okay.
And don't hold it against me.
No.
I grew up in Dallas, and grew up basically kind of just being, with my family, with family gatherings, but for the most part by myself.
Okay.
Just me and my mom when I say that. And so watching a lot of old movies and watching television, and it was between between television, church, and school.
Yeah.
Rinse, repeat.
Yeah. Yeah. So what brought you two together to form this company in Lancaster, in PA, basically? I know you guys are in York. I know that's where you reside. So is your organization there too, or do you travel all over within the Lancaster area, in York area, doing your work?
When that phone rings, we say, okay, is it drivable, or do we need to fly? And are you dog friendly?
Yeah.
I think I'll let Dominique. She tells the story far better than I.
Dominique.
Okay, what
Go
was the
for it.
question again?
What brought you two together
Right.
to form this company?
Yeah,
I know you said 2005.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
how did it form, especially in this area?
Well, at that time, we were both located in New York.
Okay.
And Kellie was producing a tour that was going to Japan.
It dropped in my lap.
Yeah, dropped in her lap.
But yeah,
Wow.
a phone call.
Okay.
Prior to that,
Yeah.
though, I auditioned for Harlem Gospel Choir, and that brought me to New York. And so this was probably the summer before, the summer of 2001. And I went to New York for my audition and didn't realize, but she was the one that played the audition. She was on the keyboard as I was singing. And so eventually I got the call to do the tour.
Okay.
So I left Houston, went to New York, flew to Europe, was gone for like 4 months.
Wow.
And
what part of Europe did you go to?
went to Italy, we went to England.
Were you in Dublin?
Belgium, yes, Dublin,
Okay.
Italy? Did you
everywhere.
go to?
Yeah, I think I said
Yeah,
Italy.
yeah,
all
yeah.
basically.
Wow.
And so that was 2001, and then in 2002, I was asked to go to Japan. Did I want to go to Japan with this group that Kellie was putting together? So I was
That
like,
drop in your lap too?
Yeah.
so I was like, well, okay, sure.
yeah.
And so Kellie actually was working another gig at the time and didn't go
I was
to
doing a show down in
Alabama, right?
Alabama.
Okay.
I was doing Lady
right?
Day,
Yeah.
Lady Day at Emerson's Bar and Grill, and so that was the producer hat in me. I was acting in one production and producing another across in another part of the world, and so we needed this group to go.
Yeah.
And so it was about calling people that I knew to kind of get this group together, and they traveled to Japan, and I think you all were there for 3 months?
We were there for 4 months, actually.
Really?
Yes.
Oh. Who knew?
We were there for 4 months. And so
I knew it was
that first year, like I said, Kellie didn't go. But a couple years later, she ended up going. And so when she ended up going on this particular tour that I was on, I actually got to meet her because I'd always heard about her and her gift and her talent and all that.
How
and so,
wonderful.
Right. Exactly.
Charming.
So it was on that particular tour that we really started talking about the business of what we were doing. And I'd done a few things back in Houston, kind of on the production end. And so we just kind of collaborated, and she was like, well, would you like to work as company manager and kind of help me in this journey? And so here we are. All these years later.
Wow.
And the way that we ended up in Lancaster, I wish I finally figured out how to pronounce it the correct way. Because growing up in Dallas, there's a suburb that we call
Lancaster.
Well, no, we call
Lancaster.
Well, actually, well, never mind. So it doesn't, because we say Lancaster there. But okay, so there was this time when I was in California, and that's Lancaster. Oh, I don't know.
Never mind.
Anyway,
But you learn how to.
I learned how to pronounce it correctly. But Dominique made the decision to come to seminary, or to go to seminary, and a
Lancaster
dear,
Theological Seminary.
All right.
a dear colleague. We wear so many hats. It's
I
we're
see,
going down a lot
yeah.
of different rabbit holes here,
Yeah.
but in a more the short version
Yeah.
is that a colleague that we both knew, we were at a conference, and he was recruiting he was on the admissions, he was the admissions head of admissions, and said, you really should consider seminary. And because we both grew up in church, and we both, we would hear the message on Sundays, or I would hear the message, and so I have questions. I have questions.
Okay.
And so, it all turned out that it was the right time to make a change from where we were in New Jersey at this time to come to
Lancaster.
to Central PA.
And you've been here ever since.
Ever since.
With all
the goodness.
yeah,
All the goodness.
all the goodness.
Yes. So, as two Black African American sisters,
Yes.
I would like to know. Share with me briefly. What kind of struggles did you encounter along the way, traveling, and then here in Lancaster, with your talents and many hats? Were there any struggles?
You mean, are there any struggles?
Okay, yeah. Some people do have their struggles.
Oh,
and
yes.
Some people don't.
Yes. I will say for me, I've always been in these particular fields, that being ministry, artistry, and production. And most of them have been male, dominated, male driven. And it was very difficult, getting the respect from the brethren. Always a problem, they could always do it better. And, it was always, and so that was, being accepted was a huge struggle. And, of course, financially, you do a lot of things grassroots, and that is a struggle. And just realizing your worth, realizing my worth, realizing our worth, has been challenging because of those barriers that have always been set up. But we're overcoming.
And what's some of the things you enjoy about this? About your hats. You got the art part, you got the ministry part. How do you combine both of them to have fun with it? I know you have fun because you've been doing it for years, but what do you enjoy about it?
You wanna go?
You go.
Oh God.
Rock, paper, scissors. No. I've really grown into this response. I think I really enjoy when light bulbs go off. Whether those are light bulbs performing for an audience, especially, well, when touring in Italy and have someone where there's a language barrier, and someone comes up to you and say, I complimente, I really enjoy, where they really connect and they get it.
Yeah.
Or if I'm doing a theater camp and have like a young child that comes into the camp and they're shy and they're really reserved, but by the end of it they get a chance to, they're telling their stories and they're talking and they get it and they have this love of theater and their parents say, oh my gosh, thank you, because they really have come out of their shell. Those moments are amazing. And we recently we just completed a production of Chicken and Biscuits at
Ephrata.
at EPAC.
Okay.
And to have a theater take a chance on us because they didn't really know us, and to put a show in their season for us, and to have that show be the best,
the number one selling play.
Oh, wow. not musical, but play
in their 45-year history
for their theater.
Wow.
For the theater.
That those things mean so much. Those things have just really been like, okay. And there's still work to be done with getting people, places, and things in this area to say, okay, well, I'm going to take a chance on you. I don't know, but there's something about you. I'm going to take a chance. And just seeing light bulbs go off with people just all around going, oh, wow, I get it.
Yeah.
Like, oh, all right. So, yeah.
Realizing that impact.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fun. It's like, oh, we can do something. This is what we're about. And it's great to see that start coming to fruition after so long.
Right. Man, I could go on. I have so many questions I could ask, but this could be for another show.
Yeah, we got to do part 2.
I would like you, I'm going to start with you, Kellie.
Oh,
What word of advice would you give someone who is looking to do the same thing you're doing, to get into this business? What
Which
word
one?
of advice? All of it boiled into one. The acting, the producing, the film.
I would say to not limit yourself, to not just say, oh, I'm just going to do just this one thing. To be open to, we are all artists. We are all creatives in one way or another. Whether that's creating on the stage or whether that's creating in a restaurant as a chef, or whether it's creating in art.
Right.
We are all artists, and so to really embrace that thing that just drives you, that just drives your passion, and for this particular field to just go with the flow and be calm and learn to laugh, because there will be times that you're just like, didn't see that coming.
Same thing for you?
Yeah, I would say consistency. You got to keep going.
Showing up.
I like that.
Keep showing up.
Keep showing up.
Yes.
And do the best that you can that day.
Yes.
And if you fail, get up and try again. Because there's always another way. You may not get the complete understanding. You may not know where you're going or what you're looking for.
But you may not get the accolades.
Oh my gosh. Don't expect the accolades.
Right.
Just show up.
Yeah.
And be the best you that you can be for that moment.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, thank you, ladies, very much. There you have it. Stay consistent, go with the flow, and do your thing. Stay true to you. Gerri McCritty, Shining a Light for LCTV Channel 66. Thank you.